Hello.
Hello, my name is Anna Platt. I'm an attorney in Greeley, Colorado. Did I reach Dwayne?
Yes, you did.
I was called by the clerk of the court, a woman by the name of Kathy Walker, and she said that you had questions that they, as clerks, couldn't answer regarding the use of certain kinds of language in legal documents and such. I don't know whether I'm going to be any better able to answer that question, but I told her I would call you.
All right, well, I appreciate you calling me. The question I have is, what is the purpose of the legal language or legalese?
Well, she told me that was your question. I wonder if it isn't a little bit more nuanced than that. I mean, it's history, tradition, a little bit of archaic character at times. Like an example I gave her was in the eviction world. There is a document called a writ of restitution. It's an order to the sheriff saying you must now put this person out, must evict him. And basically it's an order for possession, sort of. But if you called it that, the world that I run around in circles in would say, is that the judgment or is that the order to the sheriff? So when you use the word writ of restitution, the people in my segment of the legal world know exactly what that is.
Okay.
Where calling it something else, you wouldn't know for sure what the court was from the just the title. So for some things it's for clarity. For some things it's for history. But if there's some specific reason, I think there's less legalese now than there was when I was first licensed 35 years ago.
Yeah. Or maybe they just refined their deception.
Well, I don't see that. I think there's more of a question here. When you say deception, what are you talking about?
Okay, I have an example. Why does the law always refer to persons and not men?
Oh, for the longest time it used the male almost exclusively, and that now they're trying to be sure that we're talking both males and females.
Well, a person is someone who wears a mask in a play. That's the definition of a person. So the way I
read person.
Okay.
A person is a human being of either gender.
Well, a human.
The Supreme Court thinks in some cases persons are corporations are corporations.
Yes, or legal fiction. It can be a human.
Are legal fiction.
Yeah. Well, there's one interesting thing. If it can in fact be a human being, then yes, it can be a human being when he is in contract, and he therefore becomes a person through Bovier's dictionary defines person is the word applied to men and women. So it has to be applied, or you have.
Any of that. I didn't understand that. So, are we talking corporations, or are we talking persons as human beings at this point?
Well, Bovier's Law Dictionary says person is the word applied to men, women, and children. Applied means to make a formal application. So what I'm thinking is that.
Sorry, I have to call you back because I've been waiting for this call from the Department of Revenue. I'll call you back.
Yep. Hello.
I really don't. What is your real? I suspect that there's a real question here, as opposed to why do we use legalese? Because for that I've done my best to answer your question.
I know you've been pretty nice. Well, here's my thing: is that the law makes no laws for a man, only persons. And I believe that you become a person through the birth certificate process, and all your life you contract through that capital letter name, which makes you a person.
I don't even remotely understand that question, with that statement.
Well, Bovier's Law Dictionary defines a person as the word applied to men and women. That means if it's applied, that means that someone had to make a formal application or request to be a person.
No.
No? Okay, well...
That's not what that's not what the word applied means in that sentence. That means a person can be a man, a person can be a woman, or a person can be a child. Of course, a child can be a man or a female or a male. A person is a human being under that definition. And then, of course, you get into this whole whole conversation about what is separation of a person. But that's four different issues. A person is just a word that means all genders of human beings.
No, the word apply means to make an application or formal request. That's what the word apply means.
Well, it does not mean, in that sentence, it does not mean that. It means that it includes.
That it includes?
Right. A person includes a man, a woman, a child.
No, I think it means applied.
A person is... No.
It's applied to a man.
No. A person, I am a person, you're a person. I'm a female person, you're a male person. At least I think that's what you are.
I'm not a person because I haven't contracted with you guys. I actually rescinded all my contracts with your corporation. But here's, just to put it simply, why does the law only talk...
I don't think you have a contract with the United States. I think you're a citizen of the United States.
No. If that is the... I'm one of the people of the United States. I'm not a citizen.
But if you were born here, you're a citizen.
I wasn't...
I suppose you can renounce your citizenship.
Yeah, well, my mom, she did contract me with the state through the birth certificate. So, but I rescinded that because we didn't understand what we were doing. There's no law that says you have to fill out a birth certificate. So we didn't know that. It just simply says that a certificate...
You have to have a birth certificate for many purposes, but I don't suppose you have to have one to be alive.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't want to be alive in your eyes because the whole purpose here, ma'am, is that I'm just trying to find out an answer to one question. What is the purpose of legalese? What is the purpose of it?
I've already answered that question.
Okay. Well, I just believe it's to trick people into contracting and,
No, I don't have a contract. I have a birth certificate. I don't have one on my possession, but there's one exists where I was born. And my mother didn't contract with anybody. Have me become a citizen. I became a citizen by birth. Birth certificates are simply documents that the government records the birth so that you can determine how old somebody is and.
Well, if you have a driver's license, or social security card, you have a contract. That's a contract.
Not really.
Well, if you look at it in plain English, it may not be, but if you look at it in legalese, they can very easily pin that on you, the Uniform Commercial Code, through this legal language.
Sir, I don't think anyone can answer the questions that you have. You see the world in so different a perspective than, then you probably should go to law school if you want to know the answer, because I don't have a contract through my birth certificate. I have a birth certificate, which establishes that I was born in the United States 60 years ago.
Yeah. The thing is that people think they have to get a birth certificate. They think they have to have a license, and they think they have to have a social security card.
Well,
we don't have to have none of that.
If you wish to have a driver's license, at this point in time, you have to have a birth certificate.
Yeah, well, we don't, people like me, we don't want to pay for something that's illegal. The Constitution did say we have a right to travel freely. So why would I want to contract and say, oh yeah, please give me the privilege to drive?
Yeah, you certainly, unfortunately, in this country, have not been determined to have the right to drive.
Yeah, well,
it is a privilege that can be can be withdrawn.
Well, it
You
is
are
a-
correct in that.
Well, it's a privilege to persons, but not to men. It's only a privilege to men who become a person. It's not a privilege to men, because
When
men,
you were born, you were a person.
yeah, through the birth certificate.
No, when you were born as a human being, you became a person.
No, you became
A male person,
you became a
a
being.
male person, but a person.
No, in legal language, you become a person when you contract through the capital letter name. You're doing business as your name in
No.
capital letters.
You do not become a person by getting a birth certificate. You became a person by virtue of being born.
Yeah. Ma'am, I'm not sure that you really fully understand the true understanding of legal language. I feel as though I kind of have a
I
little
know
more.
that anyone does.
Yeah, I feel I have a
Not
grasp
that
on
anyone
it.
does.
Yeah, I feel I have a better grasp on it than most people. I rescinded all my contracts. I don't sign my name to any legal fiction. The capital letters that was created at my birth, I rescind all that.
What capital letters?
Well, look on your birth certificate. It's in capital letters. Look at your driver's license, your social security card. They're all in capital letters. When you go to court, it's all in capital letters. That's your business name. You contract with it when you sign to it. You become a corporation. Now you can do business with the United States, which
I
is
need to go. I'm never gonna be able to answer your questions to your satisfaction.
I understand. man.
You see things from a very different perspective than I do. I believe that when you're born, you are a person.
Yeah.
And maybe a male person or a female person, or in some very rare situations, both.
Okay. Well, ma'am, I'm just going to say that you have been tricked. But, I mean, but I understand what you're saying. You've been tricked, just like the rest of the American people.
Well, glad that you brought that to my attention, because I was not aware of that.
Yeah. Well, my whole goal is to find truth. And definitely it's so hard to find truth in government. I mean, I've asked people, I call people, congressmen, I call senators, I call lawmakers, and there's nobody can answer my question.
You really probably would be best to call a linguist.
Yeah.
Because
that's someone.
I'm not.
That's someone who.
I am a fan of words.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that the clerk, who I don't always agree with, decided that I was probably one of the better people for her to call and ask to call you.
Yeah, well, I
I
appreciate
take that as a small compliment.
Well, I could say, ma'am, that you've been very nice and cooperative. I mean, I call a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, and you've been probably the most human, the most real person that I've talked to. Someone who's not so lifted up in their pride that they can't at least hear and try to reason. I mean, at least you have the most reason of most people that I've talked to so far. And I do want to give that to your
credit.
credit.
Good luck to your quest.
All right. Well, you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.